Hi, this is Alice Bull from ScrapbookWonderland.com and the Scrap Happy membership group. I'm at the Emerald Creek booth at the Great Canadian Scrapbook Carnival in Calgary, Alberta. And I'm here with Pam Bray from Pam Bray Designs and Scrapbook Flair. Hello, Pam.
Hi, Alice. I'm glad to meet you.
It's so good to meet you, and what we're going to do today is a little demo because you actually design stamps. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into stamp designing and all the other things that you're doing in the crafty world?
Well, I contacted Kim Evans from Emerald Creek Supplies and asked if she'd be interested in manufacturing my stamps, and we did some talking back and forth, and she was looking for a coffee set, and I sat down and sketched her some coffee cups. We went back and forth, and we came up with 6 different coffee designs. There are cups, and there's a sentiment set that goes along with them. I have one here on the other one here. So there's a set of 6. So we picked and choose what we were going to make. So
it's awesome because I think that there's a few coffee lovers out in the world. There's a few.
I love coffee.
I love coffee too. So how did you get your start in the crafting world? Like, I heard maybe you were at Archivers years ago?
I was with Archivers years ago. I worked for them for 6 years as an instructor. And when I left them, I contacted We Are Memory Keepers, asking if they were looking for any kind of guest designers, sent them my work, and I was signed on with them as a designer with We Are Memory Keepers. So that was my first foot in the door. And then I met Eileen Hall. She's with the Paper Trail, and I've been designing with Eileen Hall's team for 5.5 years maybe. And I just love Eileen. She's my girl for sure.
I had the pleasure of meeting her 2 weekends ago at the event in Edmonton, and she was so great. So I'll link that video underneath this one.
She's amazing. So, but and I just love creating. I started scrapbooking 22 years ago when I had my first grandson, and now I have 7 grandchildren. So my time is getting less and less and less as I continue to design for manufacturers, and I design for some of the bigger teams. I've designed for Graphic 45. I'm with Xyron, with Authentique, with Page Maps. Don't want to miss anybody, but there's a lot of them. So
that's a pretty good resume that you have there.
Clear Snap. And I started with Southern Trading Company. I'm going to be working with another Canadian company, so I'm excited about that. I'm going to meet up with them here in a little bit. So
that's excellent. So what are you going to make for us today, and what are we going to see?
I thought I would start with a little tag, and it's going to be kind of off this card here, showing you how to maybe do some. We're going to change it up a little bit because I didn't bring Tombow markers with me. So we're going to stamp it, and I'm going to have to reach around you if you don't mind, sweetie. And we're going to pour some of Kim's Just Java on here.
Okay, you know that when you open that, we have to take a smell.
Well, you're going to smell it. As soon as that starts heating up, it's going to smell like coffee. Oh, it didn't get a very clear print. Okay, so we're going to flip it over. And I'm going to re-stamp. This is a new stamp pad, Ranger embossing pad. So sometimes they get a little testy. And this is on watercolor paper. And we're okay because I'm going to cut it out. I still don't want to stamp very well on that. Okay, so we'll do this. We're just going to heat it because we're good that way. And can you smell it?
I can smell it. It smells like coffee.
We need to have smell-o-vision. And when you emboss, don't wave that embossing gun. All that does is create cold air. Just go around it real carefully.
Uh-oh, I think I'm breaking the rules.
Yeah, it creates cold air, and you don't want cold air under your coffee. You want to keep it hot, 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 hot. So once it's embossed, Then you can see where I messed up on that little piece there. So I'm going to take a piece of paper right there on top of it. Add a little more embossing powder. This is called masking. And so then I'll line it up about right in there. I hope I hit it pretty good. Let's see if I grab that piece. There we go.
This is pro level, guys. This is pro level.
So anytime you mess up on your embossing, you can actually just mask over it, reapply the stamp with your embossing powder, and just heat it back up and get to smell more Java that way. Always give it a second to cool down, because if you don't, you're going to smear that embossing powder. Okay? And then we'll stick that out of the way. I'm a stickler for putting my embossing powder up, because if I don't, I blow it everywhere.
So I actually have a tip for you,
Okay.
because I use a little tray like that, and before I put my powder in the tray, I run one of those stamp buddy kind of things through the tray, and then all of the powder comes right out.
I just kind of, what I do, I just hit it on the bottom of my desk and let the embossing powder just fly out. Wherever it lands, it just lands.
It'll end up in the vacuum, and this is all good.
You vacuum? Oh, I never vacuum mine.
I'm surprised my cameraman's not shaking his head no.
I never vacuum. So then we're going to squirt a little water here, and I'm going to pick up a little of this Distress ink here from Ranger. And we're just going to paint some of our lines in, because we've let our cup cool down. And you can just color it however you want.
Well, and the embossing kind of holds your colors kind of in the right lines too, so it makes it like a lot easier.
Very, very. And there's no, because I always say I'm the fussy cutting queen. I love to fussy cut, so I can actually get outside those lines a little bit. It's not going to matter, because I'm going to go back in and cut it all out anyway. So if I go out here, it's not going to matter. And so then you can go back in. You can go back in and you can, I don't know who that belonged to, but we're going to use it. And you can go back in and you can highlight it a little bit. The light's just right here, so you can highlight it just a little bit by picking up a little bit of that ink, see?
That's the artistry tips that I miss, so this is a really good tip.
And it gives you, it's kind of like painting. When you're painting with paint, if you do a watered down paint, you can go back in and highlight with it. So then I don't think I have any brown out here, so we're just going to make a mess here. I'm give us some brown color. A mocha. You like mocha? My face up. That's good. And then we'll come back in and pick up a little of the blue. Okay. So once it's all dry, we'll cut it out. We won't get too fancy with it. Okay. And then we're going to repeat the same thing. Now, Ranger ink, these Distress inks are wet, so we don't want to apply our ink prior to embossing, because it's going to grab that embossing powder. Okay? So we're just going to randomly, and you can see I've got stamps on both sides of my block, because I'm kind of lazy that way.
Well, and then you don't need as many blocks either.
And we're just going to randomly just stamp in places. Oops, sorry. And add some more of our Java. And this doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to be doing this later as a make and take. Now you see here where if that stamp buddy that you were saying would be perfect, but see right here where I've gathered too much embossing powder, you can take a small paintbrush and knock it away and leave some of it. Then you just heat it up.
I think embossing was the time when I really fell in love with the crafty part of scrapbooking.
Me too. I tell you, when I first went to work for archivers, I had never embossed, and we had to take a class in it. And when that embossing powder heated and raised up, it's like, oh my gosh, that's magic. How in the world? And I tell you, I think Kim has Emerald Creek. I think her embossing powder is amazing.
It really, really is.
Amazing. So now we're going to stamp for a few beans on there, you know, because we've got to have some beans on our coffee stamp. And it's okay if I get other stuff because we're going to cover most of it up anyway.
Layering is your friend.
It is. You can't mess up. There's really nothing you can do to mess up. My philosophy, if you think you messed up, cover it up with something else.
It just means you're just not quite done yet.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. Like my beans didn't show up there, but you know what? We'll add some words to it. And you just, after you get done with this Java, you just want to go out and get your cup of coffee, little creamer in it. Get thirsty yet?
That sounds really good to me right now.
So we're just going to heat it up. Always be careful with your embossing gun. They can get up to like 1,500 degrees. And I had a friend's daughter decide to emboss on her bed and caught her bedspread on fire.
Oh my gosh.
Not a good idea.
No, I have had a mat underneath my project that wasn't meant for heat, and I warped a mat really badly.
Really bad. Yeah.
So don't do that.
Don't do that. So, and then we're going to stamp our, do that. Let's get this ink on here. So then you grab your ink, set this to one side. You always start outside your mat. You come in and you just ink it up. And then we're going to lay doesn't matter, your stencil, whatever you want, just lay a stencil down. Ooh, and then you're going to go over the top of it, and what that's going to do is create you that double layer effect that you're looking for. I don't know the true term for it.
Maybe a tone-on-tone, monochromatic detail.
Good.
Sure.
I like it. I like it. Isn't that pretty?
Oh, that is so pretty.
That turned out really pretty, and then we'll do another one with the blue. I'll just use the same one. Or let's do this one. This is, I think, one of Seth Atner's here.
Oh yeah, I like that detail.
Yeah. And I love Seth, so.
That's a Seth Apter.
I think it may be. I'm not 100% positive, but I still like Seth. I love his baked textures that Emerald Creek makes. My favorites. Yes. So we'll just give it a little detail. We don't want to get too crazy with it. And then we'll just go back over all of it real lightly. So you can do it either way. No wrong way. Just have fun. That's the biggest thing with design. It's just have fun. Okay, and then we're going to come in and we're going to stamp our sentiment, which is here. I don't know about you, but do you stamp sometimes upside down?
It's happened.
As it happened, it always happens for me. So I just kind of, Kim always writes it here. A lot of your stamp companies doesn't have the imprint, and she does, which is amazing in itself, let me tell you. So we're just going to randomly, up here where I lost my beans, let's just stick one there. That looks normal. And we'll just stick a few here, there, and everywhere. Okay. And let me get this lid back on so you don't stick your arm in it.
Okay, here's the scissors. That's what you need.
Thank you, because all I brought was some long handled ones. Okay, now the thing with fussy cutting that people get you don't chop on your stuff. You let the blade do the work. You turn it into the blade and then just carefully let it go down. And as you go around those corners, you turn the paper into the blade. And then you do the same thing on every corner. You just turn it into the blade. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's so easy. I love
Well, you make it look easy.
Cut. We're going to get you fussy cutting, Alice. We are going to do that for sure.
Fussy cutting is the F word for crafting.
So we're going to put a little Xyron adhesive on here. I designed for Xyron, and they sent me a lot of adhesive to bring with me. I generally would use a pop dot because I love pop dots. I love dimension. And so then we'll put our little coffee cup right there. And if we want to go in and add a little color there in that one little spot, I wish I had some. I'm going to do some yellow to give it some different color. Choose to give it a little color there. Okay, and then we got our little tag, and I have ribbon that we'll tie on top of it.
That looks lovely.
And if you want to go around and ink your edges in a different color, you know. That's a nice thing about distress ink. You can't cross-contaminate it, so you can take those blending foams and just go right into it. Give you a little orange
I like how
color.
that's adding that color to it.
Yeah, give you a little orange. Because I've got red on my foam, and the yellow with the red will make us a little orange color. Hang a tag off of it, maybe a gemstone or a brad or something.
Always a little sparkle.
A little sparkle, sparkle. And then you have your little tag.
Thank you so much, Pam. So
Thank you so much.
if people are interested in getting your designs and connecting with you, where should they look for your stuff and where can they connect with you?
Okay, I'm on Pam Bray Designs, Scrapbook Flair. My blog is the same as Pammy Joe, is actually what it is. It's Pammy Joe, Pammejo, scrapbookflair.com. That's where my blog is. And I'll give you a card so you'll have it. Kim Evans manufactures my stamps here in Canada. She's my Canadian manufacturer. And I also have stamps that are being manufactured by Blank Page Muse out of California. I have a large line with them also. But you can go to either location and order online.
Excellent. Thank you so much. This is Alice Bull from ScrapbookWonderland.com and the Scrap Happy Membership Group with Pam Bray at the Great Canadian Scrapbook Carnival in Calgary, Alberta.
Thank you.